So what is up, guys? Soda the Savage back, and today I am here with NFL Week 14 predictions. Now, you may notice there has been a bit of a change. I do have the jersey, and I do have the sleeves. Well, it's really just an ugly Christmas sweater, but the reason why I'm wearing this is because, look, I live in Toronto, it's winter, and in this room it is freezing. So, while I wait for the heat to go up a little bit, I decided just to layer up, because I'm not going to go down to my t-shirt, which, surprisingly, I am wearing underneath. But anyways, we're going on to Week 14 predictions. I know I missed quite a few predictions last week. A lot of them were wrong, a lot of them were upsets, but at least I got all my Thanksgiving matchups correct, which is the best part. But anyways, without further ado, let's get this video started. So starting off, we have our Thursday Night Football matchup, which actually took place between two teams that got to play on Thanksgiving. The Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. The Bears, they came off a 24-20 victory over the Detroit Lions, and the Cowboys came off a 26-15 loss against the Buffalo Bills. So let's get this started out with the Chicago Bears. So the Bears, well, I'm not that impressed that you beat the Lions. The Lions are absolutely garbage. Ever since they lost Stafford, they have just completely collapsed. The fact that you made David Blau look like a decent quarterback is honestly concerning. Mitch Trubisky, though, threw for 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. I'm not that impressed that he threw that he had those stats. The Lions have one of the worst defenses in the league, and you guys are one of the worst offenses, but of course the offense was able to outperform the defense. You know, David Montgomery had 75 rushing yards. He did follow that up with a 12 receiving yards and the game-winning touchdown. In terms of receiving, your top receiver was Anthony Miller with 9 receptions and 140 yards, followed by Allen Robinson with 8 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown. So overall, the offense was pretty good, but don't kid yourselves. You played the Lions. And the fact that your defense fell apart to David Blau, huge alarm bells should be ringing. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys. You know, you haven't beat a team over 500 this year. The Miami Dolphins have more wins against teams over 500. They have 1. You have 0. Dak Prescott, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And it wasn't even... And the pick that he threw was awful. Your defense was skinned alive by Josh Allen actually nearly completing over 80% of his passes. Devin Singletary... no, not about the Bills, but... Anyways, Ezekiel Elliott, 71 yards. Follow that up with... 66 receiving yards. That's it. Amari Cooper had 85 receiving yards, but other than that, you guys just weren't up to the competition. You guys haven't faced anyone good. You're 6-6, but you still, and I don't get, still somehow lead the division. It would help because, well, you wouldn't be leading the division if the Eagles didn't stop choking every game away, and if the Redskins and Giants actually put up a decent fight, which they don't. Cowboys are favored to win this game, but you know what? I don't care. Chicago's going to win this game, and they're going to put themselves back in the playoff pictures. They are currently 2 games back of the first wild card spot, the second wild card spot. So honestly, Bears win this game. And now you have our very next matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. The Panthers came off a 29-21 loss against the Washington Redskins, and the Atlanta Falcons came off a 26-18 loss against the New Orleans Saints on the final Thanksgiving game. Starting off with the Panthers, I can't believe that. You lost to the Redskins. Somehow, Christian McCaffrey had just over 100 scrimmage yards. Yet you got beat out by Darius Geis, of all people. Why? Why? I don't get how you lost the Redskins. It was so bad that Riverboat Ron, or Ron Rivera, got axed. I don't even remember who your new interim head coach is, but anyways, Kyle Allen, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And Christian McCaffrey had 44 rushing yards and only 58 receiving yards, which to me, that's a low McCaffrey performance. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel combined for just about 140 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, so that was good. But Kyle Allen has not been performing well recently. It's proved that the team's McCaffrey, and when you cut off McCaffrey, you cut off the Panthers. And then the Falcons, you know, man, what killed you guys was Matt Ryan throwing a pick and getting maybe the meanest stiff arm ever against the Saints. But Matty Ice threw for 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks, and he also followed that up with a fumble. Devontae Freeman has had a disappointing season, only 51 rushing yards. You guys are without Julio Jones, but, you know, Calvin Ridley, 8 receptions, 91 yards, putting up a decent performance. But other than that, you guys were absolute crap. I mean, Younghoe Koo kept missing his kicks, but the only kicks he didn't miss were the 3 onside kicks that he successfully kicked. Now, there were 2 of them were technically successful, but the first one that he kicked was successful, but there was a penalty on the Falcons, so he actually re-kicked, and somehow we got to recover the onside kicks. Falcons, they are favored to win by 3 in this game, and you know what? Because Carolina, I don't know who the hell their head coach is, Falcons win this game. And cover the spread, obviously. And now you have our very next matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Starting off, the Ravens came off a 20-17 victory over the San Francisco 49ers, and the Buffalo Bills came off a 26-15 victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Starting out with the Ravens, this was a must-win game, and you guys won this one. Starting off, Lamar Jackson threw for 105 yards and a touchdown. So you might be saying that's concerning. He didn't get the passing game going. Well, 49ers have one of the best Ds in the league. But of course, Lamar Jackson followed it up with 16 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown. Mark Ingram had 59 rushing yards. Other than that, receiving-wise, it wasn't that great. Your top receiver was Mark Andrews. 3 receptions, 50 yards and a touchdown. But you went up against one of the best defenses in the league, and you guys just completely won. You won the game. You ended up being clutch. As always, Justin Tucker is what my dad's favorite nickname is, Mr. Automatic, as he kicked a 49-yard game-winning field goal in the dying seconds. And now to the Buffalo Bills, thank you. Thank you for beating America's team. They're not America's team. I don't know why Jason Garrett's still their head coach, but thank you for winning. Because you proved to everyone that the Cowboys are not good. So starting off, Josh Allen, 19 for 24, 231 yards and a touchdown, which was nice. But that also had John Brown, who also threw for 28 yards and a touchdown. But that was one pass off a trick play. Devin Singletary ran for 63 yards, but followed up with 38 receiving yards and a touchdown. Cole Beasley comes back to AT&T Stadium and completely victimizes the Dallas Cowboys for 6 receptions for 110 yards and a touchdown. So overall, a very good game played against the Cowboys, but will it hold up? Sadly, I don't think so, because in my predictions, I think the Ravens at this point, they're just too good. Ravens will win this game, and will they cover the spread, which is 5.5? Yes, they will win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Washington Redskins and the Green Bay Packers. The Redskins came off a 29-21 victory over the Carolina Panthers, and the Green Bay Packers came off a 31-13 victory over the New York Giants. Starting off with the Redskins, I can't believe it. You won another game, and this time it was against the Panthers. Now, both you guys are out of the playoff race. Actually, no, never mind. I was wrong. Redskins, you still have a chance to make the playoffs. But here's what's got to happen. Cowboys will have to lose the rest of their games. Eagles will have to lose the rest of the games, but the only game that they can win is the one against the Cowboys in Week 16. And if the Redskins win the rest of their games, Eagles and Cowboys go 6-10, and the Redskins clinch at 7-9. That's not happening. Anyways, Dwayne Haskins, 147 yards. Didn't do too well, but Jesus Christ. Darius Geis and Adrian Peterson combined for over 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. They were the heart and soul of the team. Receiving, nothing happened. Anyways, and then the Green Bay Packers. You're facing the Giants. I knew this game would be a complete shootout. Aaron Rodgers, 243 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Rushing game, Jamal Williams led with 41 rushing yards. And out of all people, you think the top receiver would be Davante Adams or Geronimo Allison or Marquez Valdes-Scantling. No, it was Allen Lazard. 3 receptions, 103 yards, and a touchdown, but didn't have as many fantasy points as Davante Adams, as he had 6 receptions for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. And if you're wondering how I'm doing in fantasy, I suck in all 3 of my leagues. I've just had a bad year. But anyways, gotta pick a winner for this one. It's going to be Green Bay. They are favored by 12.5. I don't think they're going to cover the spread. I think they're only going to win by 10. But anyways, doesn't matter. Green Bay wins. And now you have our very next match between the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans. The Broncos came off a 23-20 victory over the LA Chargers. And finally, the Houston Texans came off a 28-22 victory over the New England Patriots. So starting off, the Broncos, it was the debut of Drew Lock. And honestly, he didn't look too bad. Had 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Phillip Lindsay ran for 58 yards. Cortland Sutton ran for 74 yards, had 74 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. But I think the big reason you won this game was from a late pass interference penalty on Casey Hayward Jr. or Sr. I don't know. But he cost the Chargers the game. That's about it. So Broncos, Drew Lock actually looks like he has potential. And then you have the Texans. Deshaun Watson was absolutely money. Had 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, a receiving touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins threw for a touchdown. Duke Johnson had 36 rushing yards. Rushing game didn't matter. Hopkins led with 64 receiving yards, but the guys who got the touchdowns were Kenny Stills, Duke Johnson, Darren Fells, and Deshaun Watson. Finally, the Patriots play good teams, and they get exposed. And that's basically what this game was. You showed how you guys are still super strong. Now, you nearly had another collapse. Like, the funniest thing was, you guys led at one point 28-3. And don't forget, Super Bowl was played in Houston when Super Bowl 51 was in Houston when the Patriots completed their 28-3 comeback. Now, they nearly pulled it off, but they just missed recovering the onside kick. So, anyways, got to pick a winner for this one. Houston's favored by 9. I'm going to say they win by 6. Win by 6. So, Texans win, but do not cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Lions came off a 24-20 loss against the Chicago Bears last week, and the Vikings came off a 37-30 loss against the Seattle Seahawks. So start off, the Lions. You know, I'm surprised that David Blatt was able to put up a decent game. Had 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Honestly, not a bad game against one of the best defenses in the league. Bo Scarborough ran for 83 yards, and that's about it. Kenny Golladay, 4 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown. Overall, I thought this was going to be the incredibly crappy game. Turns out, maybe it was. But it was a very good crap game, is what I will say. And then the Minnesota Vikings, you know, we look to blame Kirk Cousins for every time he chokes. You know what? Cousins didn't even play that bad a game. 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Dalvin Cook ran for only 29 yards and only had 35 receiving yards. But unfortunately for him, he did go down with an injury, and that might affect the Vikings the next time they go out. But luckily, they will be playing the Lions, so it should be an easy win. But anyways, other guys, Laquan Treadwell, 1 reception, 58 yards, and a touchdown. You guys actually have been performing very well without Adam Thielen, but once you get Thielen and Cook back when they're healthy, you guys could actually be a force to be reckoned with. So Vikings are favored by 13 to win this game. Vikings will win, but not by 13. I'm saying they're only going to win by 11. And now you have what I am surprised is still a 1 o'clock game. I think this should at least be flexed to 4 o'clock at the minimum. At the maximum, it should be on Sunday Night Football. But it is the San Francisco 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. Starting off, the San Francisco 49ers came off a 17-20 loss against the Baltimore Ravens last time out. And the Saints came off a 26-18 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Anyways, starting off with the 49ers, this was a big game. This is the third straight week that you will be playing a division leader. Starting off, Jimmy Garoppolo, 165 yards, a touchdown, and no picks. But your guy was Raheem Mostert with 19 rushing yards, 146 yards, and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, no one really could come out. Kendrick Bourne, Manuel Sanders, and Deebo Samuel all had 41 receiving yards, except Deebo had the touchdown. Kittle couldn't get anything going, and you guys were stopped by the Ravens. And then the Saints. Drew Brees, 184 yards and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara had 161 rushing yards, but the big guy of the game was Taysom Hill. Had 33 rushing yards and a touchdown, 2 receptions and 12 yards for a touchdown, and a blocked punt. He got to be player of the week. Jared Cook had 85 receiving yards. Michael Thomas only had 48. We didn't play that well, but we played. We won the game, which matters. And now we won the NFC South. We are going to the playoffs, which is amazing. But at this point, we currently have first place in the NFC. Now, we are tied with San Francisco and Seattle, but Seattle does have the tiebreaker over the 49ers since they won on Monday Night Football a few weeks ago. But the Saints have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks because we won back in... what was it? We won back in Week 3 over the Seahawks. So currently we're first, and we want to keep that as the Saints will win this game. Favored by 2, and of course, we will cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Starting out, the Jets came off a 22-6 loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Miami Dolphins came off a 37-31 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, Dolphins, damn. You guys should be tanking, but you guys beat the Eagles. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick, but that's pretty easy when you're going up against the Eagles secondary. In terms of rushing, no one really did too much. Devontae Parker proving that he is the best player on the team. 7 receptions, 159 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But I think the highlight of the game was the 4th down conversion. It was 4th and goal on the 1, and they pull out the punter, and they pull out Matt Hack, the punter, and pull off an incredible trick play that the Colts tried a few years ago and completely failed. But wow. And the Eagles just don't talk. You'd rather forget about this game. And the Jets, you want to forget about this one too. This is the second time you have ruined 0-16. First against the Dolphins, and now against the Bengals. Sam Darnold, 239 yards, no touchdowns, and no picks. Le'Veon Bell was completely silenced. You guys couldn't even get over 300 yards against one of the worst defenses in the league. Robbie Anderson, 7 receptions, 101 yards. Good game, but other than that, freaking trash. Jets, I don't know why people consider you to be a playoff team. I didn't expect you guys to do it, and of course, I was right. You take any good opportunity and completely butt fumble it. Gotta pick a winner for this one. New York favored by 5.5. Not happening. Dolphins will win this game. And now you have our very next matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Colts, they came off a 31-17 loss against the Tennessee Titans. And the Buccaneers came off a 28-11 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Starting out with the Colts, man, I don't know what to think about you. Let's start with Jacoby Brissett. 319 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Not a good game. In terms of rushing, you guys are going to be happy because Marlon Mack is going to be active for the next game. But other than that, Jordan Wilkins had 11 carries for 47 yards. Nothing too special. Zach Pascal was your top receiver. 7 receptions, 109 yards, and no touchdowns. It was Jack Doyle. 6 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, you guys didn't play a good game. Vinatieri, as always, just keeps missing his kicks. He went 1 for 4 from field goals. So honestly, It's time for Vinatieri to retire. And then the Buccaneers, you're going up against Nick Foles, but of course he completely collapsed. Jameis Winston threw for 268 yards, no touchdowns, and no picks. Peyton Barber had 44 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. In terms of receiving, no. Rashad Perriman, 5 receptions, 87 yards. O.J. Howard, 5 receptions, 61 yards. Other than that, Godwin and Mike Evans had only 50 receiving yards each. So honestly, offense was okay, but your defense silenced Nick Foles and Gardner Minshew. So, gotta pick a winner for this one. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. Even though the Colts are fighting for a playoff spot, they are currently 6-6 and still have a chance to make it, but it's not gonna happen. Buccaneers will win this game. Favored by 3, gonna cover the spread. And now you're moving on to our very first 4 o'clock match between the LA Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. To be completely honest, this should not be a 4 o'clock matchup. They should have switched this one with Saints and 49ers, because that would have been a better 4 o'clock matchup. But anyways, enough about that. Starting off, the Chargers came off a 23-20 loss against the Denver Broncos, and the Jacksonville Jaguars came off a 28-11 loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So starting off with the Chargers, Phillip Rivers, man, is not good anymore. Like, he has thrown, over the last 3 games, he's thrown 8 picks. Once again, in comparison, he has 9 children. Chargers are saying, if he continues to perform this poorly, they will switch over to Tyrod Taylor. But Rivers' last game, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler combined for about 100 rushing yards. The number 1 receiver was Mike Williams, 5 receptions, 117 yards. But other than that, what really cost you was Casey Hayward taking a last-second PI. Here's what happens. 10 seconds left, Drew Lock throws a deep pass that's in field goal range for Courtland Sutton, and Casey Hayward commits a pass interference. Flags thrown, they get the ball there, and Brandon McManus kicks the 52-yarder to win. That's about it. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, Nick Foles was so bad last week that they had to switch over to Gardner Minshew, who didn't really do that much of a better job. Both Minshew and Foles just combined for about 200 passing yards for a touchdown and a pick. Leonard Fournette was just completely victimized by Devin White, as he was only limited to 38 yards on the ground. And then you had D.D. Westbrook only 60 yards and D.J. Chark only 47 yards. Overall, the Bucs defense played a very good game, which is a very shocking statement to say. Gotta pick a winner for this one. I'm just gonna go with the Chargers. Currently, they actually are favored to win this game. So I will believe that. They are favored by 3, and I believe they will cover the spread. Chargers win. And now you have our very next match between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Arizona Cardinals. Steelers came off a 20-13 victory over the Cleveland Browns, and the Arizona Cardinals came off a 34-7 loss against the LA Rams. So start off with the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh Steelers. So, well, all I can really say is that, I'm shocked. Your backups. It was the night of the backups, because you don't have Big Ben, didn't have Mason Rudolph, no James Conner, no Juju Smith-Schuster. You did it all with Delvin Hodges, Benny Snell Jr., and James Washington. People wanted Mike Tomlin to be fired. Well, look at how he took this team from 0-3, took a bunch of backups, and turned them into a possible contender for the playoffs. Delvin Hodges, 212 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Benny Snell's had 63 rushing yards and a touchdown. James Washington, 4 receptions, 111 yards and a touchdown. Other than that, your defense went back to being a brick wall and just completely silenced the Browns. And then the Cardinals, I had a little bit of optimism going for you recently, but it's not really there anymore. Kyler Murray threw for 163 yards, no touchdowns and a pick, but he did follow it up with 28 yards and a touchdown on the ground. But the curse is of Kenyon Drake. So this year he was 0-6 when he was with the Dolphins. When he gets traded to Arizona, he then goes 0-4. Kenyon Drake is officially a curse. He is 0-10 this season, which is crazy. But as he only had 31 rushing yards. In terms of receiving, no one was too big. Larry Fitzgerald was your guy, but he only had 6 receptions for 56 yards. Not that impressive, and honestly, just a bad showing by the Cardinals. You let Jared Goff turn into a baller again, even though he's not. Anyways, gotta pick a one for this one. Steelers are favored by 2.5, and you know what? They're gonna cover it. Steelers win this game. And now you have our very next match between the Tennessee Titans and the Oakland Raiders. Titans came off a 31-17 victory over the Indianapolis Colts last week, and the Oakland Raiders came off a 40-9 loss against the the Kansas City Chiefs. Starting off the Titans, man. Apparently, once you cut off Marcus Mariota, you guys have been surging. Ryan Tannehill, you know, he only threw for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. That doesn't matter because your big man was Derrick Henry. 26 carries, 149 yards, and a touchdown. You know, receivers, they didn't do too much because Tannehill was so limited in the air, but you guys did it all on the ground and on the defense. Your big highlight was a blocked field goal return for a touchdown, which basically capped off the game against the Colts. So, honestly, I'm actually kind of interested to see. Like, last year I just found you were way, way too inconsistent, but you've been showing a little bit of consistency, and I'm actually kind of interested to see what can happen if you guys make it to the playoffs. And then you have the Raiders. Well, you face Andy Reid after a bye week. You don't perform well. Andy Reid, when he has time, he will thrive. Derek Carr, 222 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Very, very bad performance by him. Joshua Jacobs really did it all. 100 rushing yards, and so did Darren Waller. 7 receptions for 100 yards, but other than that, you guys were horrible. You're going up against the Chiefs defense, which is one of the worst units in the league, and they didn't, to be honest, Mahomes didn't even play that great on offense. Honestly, that's it. Like, he did so little. Didn't even complete 50% of his passes, only had 175 yards on a touchdown. But honestly, that was enough. That was enough, as the Chiefs were the much better team. And I gotta pick a winner for this one. You know what's funny? I kept saying the Raiders, they are a playoff team. Currently, according to the NFL playoff picture, they are 2 games back. They're actually a game back of the wild card. But the Titans are currently in the tiebreaker with the Steelers. Currently, the Titans don't have the tiebreaker. So, picking a winner, Titans win, and they will also cover the spread, which is only 2.5. Not that much. And now you have our final 4 o'clock football matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Chiefs came off a 49 victory over the Oakland Raiders, and the Patriots came off a 28-22 loss against the Houston Texans. Starting off with the Chiefs. Well, like I said with the Raiders, you guys didn't have to really do much on offense. Your defense was enough just to stop Derek Carr and Chucky's squad. Starting off, Mahomes barely even completed 50% of his passes. Only had 175 yards, and he threw a touchdown. In terms of rushing, you got rushing touchdowns from 3 different guys: Darwin Thompson, Patrick Mahomes, and LaShawn McCoy. Excuse me. In terms of receiving, the only receiving touchdown was from Darrell Williams. Other than that, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill were kind of limited. I mean, Kelce had 90 receiving yards. Hill only had 55. Other than that, you silenced the Raiders. Once again, Andy Reid after a bye week is just too powerful for the Chiefs to have. And then the Patriots. Once again, you face a good team and you completely crumble. Tom Brady had 326 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. But the real guy that did all the work was James White. 79 rushing yards and no touchdowns, but he followed that up with 8 receptions for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's something that he loves about Houston. It's where he got 3... It was either 2? I think it was 2 touchdowns. 2 or 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. 1 2-point conversion, and including the game-winning touchdown. He just loves to play in Houston. NRG Stadium is where James White thrives. Edelman had 106 receiving yards and a touchdown. You guys were actually down 28-3, and you nearly completed the comeback, but you failed to recover the onside kick, which you actually had, but you tipped out of bounds, which was unfortunate. Not really. Screw you, Pats. Got to pick a winner. I know the Patriots are favored by 3, but I'm going to say the Chiefs will once again pull off an upset and beat the Patriots, as the Patriots, they will go down, and the lead for the division will slowly slip away. Chiefs win this game. And now you have our Sunday Night Football primetime matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams, going all the way out west. Starting off, the Seahawks came off a 37-30 victory over the Minnesota Vikings, and the LA Rams came off a 34-7 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Starting off, Seahawks, one hell of a game played. It was a close one. like all your Monday Night Football matchups, a good intense game, but you guys came out on top. Russell Wilson threw for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Now, the pick was kind of weird, mainly what happened, because Russell Wilson goes to throw the ball. One of the defensive linemen swats it, and instead of Wilson trying to, catch the ball, try to run it, maybe swat the ball down, make sure that no one can get it, he decides to swat it like it's a volleyball. He tried to spike it, like you do in volleyball when you do an overhand motion, and it gets intercepted by Anthony Harrison, who returns it for a pick six. But other than that, Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, maybe the deadliest running back duo outside of Kamara and Latavius Murray, nearly had 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 75 receiving yards, and David Moore only had 65 receiving yards. Other than that, a good game played in general. And then the Rams, I'm not impressed that you beat the Cardinals. They're not exactly a good team, but if you want Jared Goff to get his confidence back, that's a good start. He did so well that Blake Bortles got to have 2 throws. But Goff had 424 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Todd Gurley ran for 95 yards and a touchdown, finally showing he's coming back a little bit, but not too much. Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee nearly had 300 receiving yards. Robert Woods had 172 receiving yards, and Tyler Higbee had 107 receiving yards and a touchdown. The other touchdown was from Cooper Kupp, who had 6 receptions for 65 yards. So the Rams, they showed a lot of life on offense, but it's against one of the worst defenses in the league. And currently, Seattle is favored by 1 to win. Sorry, I had to get a drink, but Seattle favored by 1, and yeah, they will pull off the victory. Now you have our final matchup on Monday Night Football between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Giants came off a 31-13 loss against the Packers, and the Eagles came off a 37-31 loss against the Dolphins. So the Giants, well, good news. Jones is injured. Excuse me. Daniel Jones is out, and Eli Manning is back. Y'all want to definitely die, because, damn, it's Eli. But anyways, Daniel Jones had 240 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks, showing a horrible performance. At this point, maybe I give Manning one more chance, but that's it. Saquon Barkley had 83 rushing yards and, 32 receiving yards. Nothing really came out of you guys. Golden Tate didn't even get a single reception. Caden Smith was your top receiver, 6 receptions, 70 yards. Other than that, I can't wait to see what happens with Eli back. And also your defense was skinned alive by Genghis Khan Rogers, or Aaron Rodgers. That was the Urinating Tree reference. Go check out his channel. Link will be in the description below. And then the Eagles, I can't believe you lost the Dolphins. You are given a prime opportunity to take the division, and yet you choked. Carson Wentz, 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Your offense played a very good game. Miles Sanders, 83 rushing yards, followed by 22 receiving yards and a touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey, 137 receiving yards. You guys played a good game offensively, but your defense succumbed to Fitzception, of all people, and the Dolphins. Seriously, you fell to Fitzception and Matt Hack. Who the hell is Matt Hack? He's the punter. So your defense concerns me. Now, you guys are favored by 9 to win. I'm going to believe it. You guys win this game, and you will still be second in the NFC East. And honestly, to be honest, at this point, nobody deserves to win the East. It is just a horrible, horrible division. No one deserves it. Anyways, but Eagles win this game. And that's going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see prediction weeks 1 through 13, link will be in the description below. All the links will be there. Make sure to click it. Go check it out. See how well I've done on my other predictions. If you like this video, take a second to click the like button, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what other kind of videos you want to see. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at StuDoTheSavage. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation is out.